Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena video, though this time it's not Brawl. In short, I have a friend and they are more interested in watching constructed play with Standard than Brawl as a whole, and they've been begging me to essentially play some constructed Standard, specifically in Ranked. Now, I'm not much of a competitive player when it comes to card games. I enjoy watching it being played competitively, but I tend to enjoy the variance that you can get in games at a little bit of a more casual level and with formats like Brawl than necessarily with uh, what you see, especially in Standard, where there's a very defined meta, there's very clearly dominant decks, and whereas I prefer modern and other older formats in that regard when it comes to constructed, just because of the fact that with such a wide array of cards, you can put together more interesting decks, even though there are still going to be some more dominant meta ones. So I've generally not ever particularly played ranked. I've done it a few times just to get the booster packs, but usually it's a game or two, and I think I've only once actually pushed through to gold rank. And yeah, and then similarly with limited, it depends on my mood. The main issue with that comes in with the fact that limited requires a much larger gold investment, and so if I'm not feeling like it, I don't really want to put money into it on that sort of scale. Um, anyways, much to my friend's chagrin, I'm not playing a meta deck because similarly, it's just not what I enjoy doing. My joy when it comes to playing card games is in the deck building more than anything else, and I probably would be happy to make decks and then have other people play them and see how they perform and tweak accordingly based on much larger samples. But yeah, I like seeing my decks working more than I enjoy playing them per se. In that regard, it's weird, but that's just how I am. I have no ill will to people who do play meta decks or people who enjoy making meta decks. Making meta decks, just climbing with meta decks. Um, because at the end of the day, Magic the Gathering is a game that it encapsulates a lot of different people with a lot of different preferences, and I'm not going to fault people for doing what they like. So yeah, not exactly a meta deck, and there's definitely improvements in this. Like, a lot of these cards are 2-ofs, and just straight up having 4 Nisses would be better, but I don't feel like using loads of wildcards on making copies of cards that I'd feel a little bit more willing to do it if it was Eldraine or Theros, just because it's going to rotate further away, so I have more time to reuse it. And whilst I still have quite a bit of time, I'm not as interested in it as a format. And after a few videos potentially of ranked, I'm most likely only going to be playing in play queue, where I don't mind not having quite as optimized a deck, since I'm mostly doing it just for fun and getting it through quests. But yes, so Hydras. Hydras is the theme I decided to build around, mainly because Voracious Hydra is arguably one of my favourite cards printed in M20, and I just went, you know what, that's good enough for me, let's make a deck around it, because I have 4 of him, I had 3 Gargos, I had a couple Bioessence Hydras, and in one of my other decks, when I was initially looking to build a deck, I need to find it now. You got to be all the way at the top for that. Interesting. So yeah, this was the deck I was playing mostly in Eldraine as a big punchy red-green deck, mostly just built around getting a little bit of early mana, getting things with extra counters on, and punching pretty hard. It worked out quite well for me, and I did really enjoy it for that, but I wanted to make something a little bit different, and I thought, oh, I'll incorporate some Theros cards, and I think, ironically, not actually got any Theros cards in this. Actually, no, I've got a couple in sideboard that were originally in main board, though the sideboard's not going to come into play. I'm intending on doing best of 1, where essentially, originally I only had the one, where is it, Nylea, and because of the Thunderous Snapper, which I had 4 of originally, yeah, 4 of, I wanted 5 mana creatures to enter the battlefield and allow me to draw a card with the Snapper. So in its place, I had Thrix, the Sudden Storm, since the cost reduction would then also apply to things like Nissa, and if you pumped it into the Hydras, it gave them the cost reduction, and also made them uncounterable, so I could dump all of my mana and not worry about it getting countered, whilst still having a pretty decent body there. However, I got a second Nylea from PAX, and so I figured that it would probably just be better to have 2 Nylea in its place, since even though it's cheaper and doesn't get the draw from the Thunderous Snapper, the revealing of creatures to put them into my hand is relevant on the turns where I don't have anything to do. It can give me some card advantage. It just applies the cost reduction to everything, all my creatures, so it is able to hit Grumgully as well there, and Paradise Druid, making them a bit cheaper. And it's also a much better body for just punching in, because I should theoretically be able to hit that Devotion quite easily, since a lot of the Hydras, like Thunderous Snapper is 4 there, Vivian gives us 3, Gargos gives us 3, the Voracious Hydra gives us 2, and then every other card will give us at least 1. So, very easy to activate and make it a creature, and then that gives us a lot of power to start rolling with. So, that was essentially how the deck came about, and then obviously I got quite a few Planeswalkers. As I said, Nissa would be a great addition to have multiples of. Domri Chaos Springer is also another one that I'd want more of, because that Riot is really relevant, and I think I was considering putting instead of Kiora, and I might still at some point do some tweaks to the deck and change things like this. Rhythm of the Wild, since once again it's another way of making my stuff uncounterable, so I can feel free to dump all of my mana into it, and it also then allows my Hydras to haste, which with the Bioessence Hydra can be really relevant, since I've had a couple of games where it's entered as a 1919 with that haste and just been able to swing in and just change the game around in a single turn. So because of Bioessence Hydra, I wanted to have quite a few Planeswalkers, hence the Domri in the place of Rhythm of the Wild. And then Grumgully, which seems like a little bit of a weird addition. And that's the other thing, is there aren't actually any Hydras in red. All of my red splash cards are Domri, Grumgully, and Ambush. And also Embereth to an extent. Though I did try some test builds with this. And here was the last version before I decided to go back to the original one that I made, which was Temur, since it just wasn't working out as well. Yeah, I really wasn't a fan of how it ended up. Even when I just went Simic originally, the Simic one was mostly the same, just with more duplicates of things, growth spirals, etc. But I feel that Grumgully and Domri, ironically, despite not adding a colour that cares about Hydras, really helped out the deck, just because I could pump 1 less mana in effectively with Grumgully, and he's a decent body that most opponents want to remove. Domri's Fight would become relevant. It's able to make my things uncounterable if it's able to resolve, and once again adds mana, gives that extra power as well, so it's just a nice, fun, aggressive card. And obviously, as I said, the haste with Domri. So despite my tests with Sultai and Simic, I ended up coming back to the Temur one in the end. And I just know that this is going to completely blow up in my face now. I'm going to go into ranked, and I'm going to just get trounced, and it's going to look terrible. But hey, let's sideboard. Just not, as I said, playing best of 1, so it's not too important. But Vivian technically has the ability to grab things from the sideboard that are creatures. So we have a 100% creature sideboard. I'm going to switch to this since it's better for the sideboard, in my opinion. So we got another Grumgully, just so that we can pull it out if necessary. Some Questing Beast, Shifting Celatops, Polukranos, which, despite being black, we've got ways of generating any color mana through the Paradise Druid and the Goose. So it's rather limited, but that's why it's only 1 of in the sideboard, since we can situationally get it out, we can situationally make it fight, and it theoretically is able to come back as a late game option, and is the main thing that I'd say Sultai would be worth going for. But Yeah, especially since it's a 4 mana 6/6 at the very least. But I do prefer my Temur build at the moment. Zagana, who was another consideration for main board, but it doesn't really affect the Hydras that don't have trample. And raise Forerunners as a big finisher, Thorn Mammoth for more fight shenanigans. Gargos, just so I have one that I could always technically access. The aggressive Mammoth I probably would cut. They were put in just when I was originally putting the sideboard together, and yeah, definitely don't need two, even if I want one, though I guess the triple green devotion is useful. And Steelbane Hydra, which is the one Hydra that I really could put in the deck and probably would put a couple of in, but I think I put it into sideboard so that if I needed it, I could pull it out and work towards it with Vivian. However, the fact it doesn't have trample on its own is a bit of a detriment, and the fact that it's then 3 mana and removing a counter to eat an enchantment makes it really expensive if I then want to play it and immediately remove an enchantment. And honestly, I'd probably put in fact, maybe in the place of the aggressive mammoths, I'd put in the smashing the Brontodon, just so I can destroy artifacts and enchantments that way. Since these also don't hit the gods, since the gods are indestructible, but I don't think I've got anything that can deal with that outside of, well, I guess if I stuck in Shadow Spear, yeah, Shadow Spear would do it theoretically, but regardless, I don't expect to use the sideboard that often. I didn't put too much thought into it. It was mostly just essentially it was cards that I considered at some point and stuck in the sideboard that didn't make it into the main board in the long run. But yes, so I did do quite a bit of testing beforehand with the various builds. I did manage to, in play mode, find and beat a few meta decks. Well, not top tier ones. I think it was Stacks. I went against the Simic deck, which I believe was Ramp rather than Flash. And I also went against Mono Red, and I did manage to beat all of them. So it's got the potential to perform, but at the same time, the question is, once we go into actually playing with competitive in mind, if it's going to have the same potential outcome. Okay, well, I'm going first, so I've got a lot of ramp here, so it's turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, I don't have the mana for Garen Brig, I don't think, but turn 4 I would if nothing's dead, so I think it's keepable. I don't know what my opponent's playing. Hopefully we don't get punished for this. Yeah, because if I played a Garen Brig I need 4 mana. Yeah, okay, they're red, they've immediately got a shot, there goes that, so yeah, Gargos isn't going to triple Garen Brig. Okay then, why not? So I think I drop Embereth next turn. Yeah, that champion's gonna hurt, so... Admittedly, the way I did manage to beat it last time, double champion too, that's really painful. I need to get this Gargos down ASAP. Okay, there's Hydroid Krasis at least, so... That's good if my Paradise Druid is able to survive. So, let's see here. I do get to beat the food at least, and I will, I think, do that. So I presume light up the stage. Nope, Rimrock Knight. Okay. Alright, I'll definitely eat this food. And there's a backup Gargos. So yes, I can now get the mana from Castle Gambler, and that's why I've got so many in here. I'm mostly playing heavy green, so I'm happy to get the Garen Brig down. Gargos is great, since if they target the Druid I can kill something, and then if they target Gargos I can also kill something. It's a very good card here, and it makes all of my Hydras cheaper, so as long as my Paradise Druid survives I can Krasis the following turn. since I can drop the Garen Brig, get the 6 mana, get the 4 cost reduction, and have the Paradise Druid for the blue, and that'll get me the blue as well. So yeah, they are building up now, but here's where Krasis comes to town, especially since these knights can't block. Okay, so 5 plus so 9. And attack with Gargos. There we go. That's how this deck can work, and that's kind of why it's able to work against mono red, is if we're able to last those few turns and have Gargos hit the field, then they've got very little they can do. It's able to attack and still block. And then also, if I get the Krasis, that's where it's just game over. So, a good first game. I was glad that's at least managed to work once, so it shows that I'm not completely mad when I say that it's been working out for me. But yeah, we are in the early stages here. We are only bronze, and that is definitely not a keeper. Going first twice as well is pretty neat. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep this and then drop one of the Krasis. Got Temple of Mystery turn 1 for a Scry. Hopefully setting up a bit better. Yeah, I'll play that. I'm gonna play the Stomping Ground tapped and then I can Gilded Goose. Yeah, I expect to go against a lot of mono red at these levels. So with that in mind, if this goose survives, I play Domri and just immediately fight my goose into Scorch Spitter. If not, then I Gramgully and start setting up. Okay, I fight into that. That's good. If I get another land, that's going to be really good. Actually, no, I've got Domri, so I can do it next turn, if nothing else. Now, I believe this does do it to the Planeswalker, so they can just straight up kill Domri, and then my goose won't kill the Scorch Spitter, but that's at least damage not going to my face. It does mean I don't get to play Krasis, but yeah, that's to be expected. And then do they punch at Domri still? They should do. Yeah. More Scorch Spitters. Understandable. Great Henge. Not exactly great here. I can only Krasis for 1 at the moment. Grumgully's great for the other. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna pull that there. Because yeah, Grumgully dies to whatever blocks it, and if not, I'm on 1. And yeah, that's... yeah. So, unfortunately, can't quite deal with that. Okay, so I can passage going first all of these games. This is weird. Grumgully's able to come down. If I get one more land, I can snap her. Okay, I think it's reasonable enough. It's not outstanding, but I think I can make it work. Mono white life gain. Not actually played against this deck. Let's not forget to do this. And I do get an island or a forest. I think I honestly get a forest, since my Paradise Druid can currently tap for any colour. So obviously if it gets removed, that's going to be a pain. But at the same time, that Pride Mate's going to get big. I want to eat that as soon as I can. Okay, well there's the land I need. There's another land that I could use, but it's still no blue, which is awkward. Okay, so we get Grumgo down here. This at least stops the attack with Pridemate if they don't play something else first, although I bet they have something. That'll do it. And yeah, that's straight up a problem. They only attack with the Pridemate this time though, so no blocks. Okay, how big can I make this Hydra? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we pay 3. It gets the one from Grumgully. That should be big enough to eat the Pridemate. Yeah. And I'll attack with that because I'm happy for them to trade Linden into that. Okay, second L seed. Breakable formation, that's pretty good. So, gotta think carefully with this turn. So that becomes a 5/5. That can then start making stuff bigger. That I probably want a snap down for. So I think I drop the snapper. I'll attack with this because they either double block with LCs. I should have attacked with that first and then played the snapper. Because yeah, I've got the snapper to block Linden, and they'd have to double block the LCs to kill it. They're running out of gas. I mean, I've got a little bit left, so should hopefully that can start producing them value. That's going to be a problem. They can start drawing cards. What I'd really like here would be a what's her name? Vivian. Oh, another unbreakable formation. Okay, they are completely out now. So, this is difficult. That's not good to play now, that just draws me a card. So, can I take the 5 from Linden? That's the important question. I go down to 1 if I don't block. Okay, they can give protection. They can give protection and kill me if I don't double block. So I think I do this. Down to, yeah. But now I can't attack with the Hydra. 1, 2, 3. That would have been great, but I've just lost my devotion, so I need to spend another turn doing Snapper. This isn't good. The L seeds mean that they can trade into my Snapper, and I have to keep trading, because otherwise they can sacrifice and give it protection. And there's another Pridemate that I have to deal with.
Our true strength lies in our friendships.
So I think if they just attack with Linden, because of the fact that it would force a trade. Okay. Oh. Domri. Unfortunately, it is fight, as opposed to... Okay, so I can drop Nylea and it's a creature now. But I can fight one of the elf seeds. This is a difficult one. I can't play that anymore. I need to get something down. I think this is our best play since it's a solid blocker. attack with this, because if they want to trade with it, or they have to burn a protection to do it. Double blocking the LCs, okay. I'm fine with that. That gets rid of one of them. They only gain life once, I think, for the... Oh no, it is still twice because it's 2 creatures hitting for lifelink. Oh! Devotion. Ah, that... okay, that was a massive misplay. That... yep. That was dumb. I'm genuinely embarrassed by that line of play. Ah, serves me right for forgetting that. Like, oh, I'll play this first so that this is a creature, so it gets the counter on entry, so that it's a good blocker, and then I'm just gonna screw that up immediately. Okay, opponent goes first, so they get to... So I think I'm gonna keep this. I get to drop the abandon and try and find some acceleration so I can get one of these out a turn earlier. I don't need more Hydras, believe it or not. I need one more land to even play anything reasonably. Okay, is this going to be Esper Stacks? Okay, there's the extra land I need. But I would prefer some sort of creature, especially since these walls are now going to block any small Hydras. Okay then. It might just be blue-white control. I think it's going to be blue-white control, in which case I think I've got too slow of a start to potentially beat this. I guess Hydroid Krasis actually is a good refill option if I save it late enough. Alright, and I'm just going to hold up counterspell. Presumably, yep. I'm gonna put this first. Whilst it technically would thin the deck of one card, so, Oh wait, by playing that mountain I can't drop the snapper, so yeah, I'm gonna Domri. This should hopefully eat a counterspell. Because otherwise all my stuff can't be countered. I mean, I guess they could have other forms of removal, but... it resolves? Okay.
Another day. The only authority that I recognize is chaos.
So I've now got a resolved Domri. So my creature spells can't be countered. Another Birth of Meletis. Time Raveler can't bounce Domri. It can bounce the Meletis. But now, here is a... okay, they can bounce whatever I play. So I play Hydroid Krasis, surely. Since that disincentivizes, I can get 4. And it disincentivizes them bouncing it. So I can then get more value from it. I guess Nissa would have been the other play. Alright, they're going to bounce it. So... because they can give that hexproof. But that's fine, I can get more value from it later down the line now. I definitely want to have something to block the Dream Trawler, and I think the Krasis is the best option for that. But I then also don't want to draw too many cards and discard. My Nissa lands can't punch through. Screw it, we'll do it again.
I bow to no one.
Discard 3 cards, so I discard probably both geese. It's a bit late at this point. Bioessence can get really, really big. Maybe through the druid. Oh, I didn't want to pick the druid there. I wanted to deselect it. But yes, this forces either more answers on the Krasis, or
Don't worry.
it requires them to trade in with their Dreamcrawler. Because I'm 100% going to block that. Is that instant? Yeah, it's instant. Okay.
Busting eggs is my bread and butter.
Okay, now I can, I think, I can bounce something next turn. So let's see if they want to trade the Dreamcrawler into it, but I'm guessing they don't. They do. Alright. I'll take that. Do I want to risk playing into a board wipe? I think in this instance, yes. Since this will draw me more cards. So if a board wipe does come, it'll hurt, but I still have good options to follow up with. It gets rid of both of their... Okay, so they can exile something with CMC 3 or greater. They've got 2 options, got 3 options there actually. So, yep, there goes poor Domri. But that's not too big of an issue for me. Next down to Snapper. Domri, 2 mana. Non-creature spells cost 2 more next turn, so... Could have a counter spell. So drop Nissa. That deals double mana, so I can then Domri's Ambush.
Strange and magnificent world. The land fights for us.
Yeah, we'll put it on the mountain. So vigilance. If you want to keep my war around for a bit longer, that's fine, gets me an extra point of damage in. the board wipe and draw a card. That's fine. I've got a lot of mana this turn. So what do I drop? I think I drop a really big Voracious Hydra. They've still got counter spells up, so start with Thunderous Snapper. Yeah, that is their counter spell. They get to return a creature or planeswalker, so is it from a graveyard? From your graveyard. So they can get back their Dreamcrawler, or they can get back their Teferi. So I think animate this forest.
Rise, my elemental friend.
Actually, it's their forest. It's -8. So 2, 4, 6, 7. So it's 5. Yep. I can still kill the Dreamcrawler, and there's Domri Chaosbringer. So next turn, I hope to play that into a Bioessence Hydra and just surprise win. Oh, they get the counter this time. So they get another one of those. So there goes Nissa. That's a shame. Okay, shock in. That's always scary. Let's start with a goose. So yeah, they've definitely got something. I shouldn't have played that, I should have played the Voracious Hydra targeting the Dreamcrawler. Twice X, X is 3. Okay, that's fine. Decline. Got myself another goose. So yeah. They've only got 2 cards left in hand. I've got 2 champ blockers for Dreamcrawler. They will draw a card with Dreamcrawler though. Narset's good. That shuts down my Crisis later. What do they get? Oh, another Elspeth Conquers Death. Though nothing that they can target at the moment, and if I play a Voracious Hydra they can't target it again. So, yeah. No removal there. That's good for me. They draw a card. So, yeah, they do gain 6 life. They only have 2 mana up. Can I Hydra for enough to force them to discard a card? 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yes, I can. Because they do have a mana for a counterspell. I can force the fight, because I want them to discard cards, because that leaves them less that they can use on me. And there goes another board wipe. Take out Narset, so you can't get cards back from that. Their best option would probably be to bounce back the forest. They do get a free attack in with Dreamtrawler here. I guess they can bounce Elspeth, but once again, nothing that Elspeth Skronka's Death can actually hit. So if they board wipe now, they can bring back their Dreamtrawler. But they would have had to have top decked it. Voracious Hydra, really? Okay, they do have a board wipe. So yeah, they're going to get their Dreamtrawler back. There's Vivian, a very expensive Vivian, but a Vivian nonetheless. They have a lot of mana out at the moment. Just drop this, they know I've got it, so they could probably very easily have a counterspell. Yeah, there we go. And I need to set up to get another Hydra capable of killing the Dreamtrawler. So maybe I should have dropped the double Druids, but they just still have the counterspell. But then again, Vivian can apply the pressure as necessary. What I really need is another Hydra Krasis. Oh, here goes nothing. It resolves. Labyrinth of Scophos can bring it out of combat, which is a pain, but what can you do sometimes?
No, I am not making this up as I go.
Kill Teferi with Vivian. Ah, they got another one, so they can just bounce.
This is a fight you can win.
They put a +1/+1 counter on that Teferi. Oops. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. I needed that turn with Gargos. Yeah, and now they can set up their draws. I think now is where I've yeah.
Just the trick for this.
4 mana, +1 power. It's not going to be enough. I can survive the turn, but I don't think I'm able to come back from this at this stage. I know I've got the Gargos, so yeah, I think this is time to call it. I do believe. That was a fun game. I do feel that, yeah, we could have had it at points, but it is what it is. It didn't feel so overwhelming that I had no chance, but it was very similar to the Esper Stacks game that I played, where they have a lot of answers, but with the Hybrid Krasis at the right time and the right amount of ramp, you get enough value to essentially mitigate their removal enough to push through. But I think the main difference with that over Stacks was the Dreamtrawler with the lifelink. It meant that we had to remove it, and then they also had all of the life coming back to them at the same time. So let's see what we got. Icon of the Sun's Grace. Fun. But yeah, so there we go. It did better than I was expecting by actually getting a win in the in ranked. But yeah, as I said, it's a dumb deck with far too many singletons and 2-offs that really would benefit from investing more cards into it. Cards that I don't feel like investing into a format that I'm not likely to play too much of, especially when in unranked it's perfectly feasible to play. But yeah, so as I said, for improvements, I'd probably put in more Nissas, more Domri Chaos Springers. I'd probably say that there's definitely room, I think, to cut these, and stick in better things, but it worked for me. My other attempts at building without them didn't work as well. So either I'm not going to say that I'm too good at deck building in Standard. Standard's never been my format and probably never will be. So, anyways, with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed the video. I may do more in future of this if I feel like it. If I feel like I can improve the deck more. If the deck suddenly just starts performing really, really well, because I'm definitely going to be playing with it in unranked, just because I enjoyed the deck I made. I like X spells because of how flexible they are, and it's just a trick of managing to get them to work. And maybe I'll go all in and just do a 4-color variant with a couple of Polukranos, because why not? Polukranos would actually have been pretty useful in those control matchups, just as a threat that they can't permanently get rid of. Actually, no, they play Elspeth Conquers Death, which then just exiles it, so never mind that. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time, probably with Brawl. Let's be honest here.